Hello everyone, Will again here. So this morning I'm just taking Josie on a walk, but the main aim for today's video is, if you all remember a few weeks ago, we were drilling all the grass seeds on the farm. So if you can see behind me, there's a field drilled of grass. So what we're doing, we're getting Dad to come along with me in a little bit. We're going to go around all the fields that we drilled and just give a sum up of how we think they've got on and how they are coming up. So that's the plan for today, guys. Really hope you enjoy it. If you do, please give the video a like, guys. Really appreciate that, all you guys that give the video a like, and even more if you subscribe to the channel, that is even better, guys. So hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers. So I've just picked Dad up from down the yard, and he's actually driving now because he knows exactly where he wants to go across the fields, and I don't want to flatten any of the grass. So what we're doing now is heading up to the furthest field away on the farm. This is drilled with Italian ryegrass, isn't it?
Yeah, the haylage mix.
And this is actually the field that we did the drilling video in, so I'll put a link into that video as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this actually got on. So what we'll do, we'll head up to the field, and when we get out we can explain exactly what we've done and how it's all been done and stuff. So we are just at the first field now, and as you can see behind me, all the grass has actually started to come up. I'll put the drone up in a little bit so you can have an overshot of all these fields. But Dad, are you happy with how this is looking?
It's looking very good. So
when was this one drilled, just to remember?
This was drilled on the 16th of October.
So this one, if we go down here, can you explain how far apart these were actually drilled? So you can see here, these are the grass. How far apart were these actually drilled?
Well, you're drilling to get 15 kilos to the acre.
Yeah.
And we're drilling with a combi drill with the normal coultered widths on.
And how does that, what's the reason why we actually do that? So if you look down here, you can see the lines down the field. You should be able to see them.
Yeah, and we tram line it so that, like you do in corn, so there's no mistakes with the fertiliser or sprays.
So for all of you that watch Clarkson's farm, I'm guessing you all know what a tram line is. So basically when you're looking down the field, this is a tram line, isn't it, here? Yeah. So the tram line here, the wheel marks, you run down and you do all the work in the field down those tram lines, so you're not running over all the crop. But yeah, as we walk down here, it's looking fairly consistent, and there doesn't look like anything hasn't come through, does there?
It's looking very good.
The only bit down there that hasn't come through is a wet bit in the corner of the field, which you'll probably see on the drone, and that's basically because it's been run over quite a bit, and it's just a wet patch in the corner.
It's literally just in the gateway.
So throughout the fields on the farm, we actually have quite a few different soil types. So up here, how would you describe this one, Dad?
Most of the fields very kind soil, loamy type soil, but there's a patch of heavy clay which we're just walking into here.
So over here, if you can see, it's just slightly less. There's a little bare bit there. It's not actually 100% bare, but this is a heavier bit of soil. And if you look below me now, this is quite good to walk on. But as we get here, it's a bit more clumpier and heavier. This is.
The grass is actually here.
Yeah, sorry.
Now we get closer, the grass is here, it's coming through.
Yeah.
You can actually see it coming through. So it's just, the clods are making it look like that it's not there.
Yeah, it's literally from a distance, because the clods are a bit lumpy, it's making it look like the seeds haven't come through, but in fact, it is coming through quite nice. It's just because it's a heavier soil like this, it takes a lot to break up. You can see here, that's quite clayey, isn't it, Dad?
Very clay.
Whereas the bit we've just literally walked across, where you can see green on the screen, that is a lot softer, so it doesn't take so much breaking down with the machinery. But it's just one. Sorry about that, Dad was just on the phone. But as you can see here, there's actually a really good example of actually the two soil types. So if you look down this line here, you can actually see the darker soil there and the lighter soil there. So if you look down, this isn't cloddy at all, it's quite well broken down, whereas you literally go 2 yards here, this stuff is a lot more cloddy. So that's what we're on about, but the seeds are coming through well. They've germinated, haven't they, Dad? So really good. when you talk about grass, this is actually, is it a single leaf stage? Just going back to college days and uni days.
Just throwing up the second true leaf.
So down here, as you can see, there's 2 leaves. I'll just pull one out. I won't get top off, but you can see the little seed. It's down at the bottom where it was, and there's 2 little leaves. So this is the flag leaf. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then this is the second one that's just started to come up. I might be wrong there, but just trying to give you guys a bit of insight of how the grass develops. And obviously, as it gets older, grows more, gets a lot more stronger. And actually, the weather at the moment has been really good. It's been, what, 13, 14 degrees, even a bit warmer.
Yeah.
And that really helps with the growth, because this time of year, usually it's very wet, and also usually it's a lot colder, so you're starting to get frosty mornings, which when you're drilling grass, all this was drilled in October, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It can actually have a pretty big effect on it. So this year, even though we drilled a little bit later, it's not really had a bad effect on it. It's coming through really nicely. Where would you like to get this to? But because, sorry, grass stops growing at about 7 degrees, so where would you like this to get to before really it stops growing for the winter?
You want good coverage, so a good true plant, 3 or 4 leaves minimum, so it's there ready for the spring to go.
Yeah. So basically, does that mean it's hardy enough to get through the winter? Sorry, Dad's got a text.
I'm just going to look at the soil temperature today.
Oh, see, we've got a weather station on the farm which actually tells us a lot of this stuff, so it gives us air temperature, amount of rain we get. So Dad's just going to get the app up now. So, what's the soil temperature today? So if you just look on Dad's app phone here, you'll be able to see where's the soil temperature, which one's that? Soil there, so today it's 10.6 degrees, 24 hours it's 10.8. So at the moment, grass will still grow. I think once it drops to 7 degrees, the grass will actually stop growing, so usually it would be around that by now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you'd be getting down to that normally, yeah.
Yeah. So really happy with this one. What we're going to do is go down to another field now that was drilled at a different time and check out that, see how that's coming on. Right, so we are now down at the second field. So this is actually down on the low bit of the farm. It's not exactly a hill farm, but this is the lowest field on the farm, isn't it? As well as that over there. So this field here was actually the one that we recorded muck spreading, as well as the one over there. So when were these ones drilled, Dad?
25th of October.
So these were, what's that now, 2 and a little bit weeks ago?
It's 2 weeks and 4 days.
Yeah, so not too long ago. So what we're going to do now is look down here, and as you can see, this is a much finer soil than what's up there. So what would you class this as soil type?
This is like the better part of that up there. This is definitely a loamy type.
And if we actually go down here, these are, when we said before, they're in a single flag stage. I've actually ripped that off the root. But this is now a single rather than double, so this has had 2 weeks less growth than that up there, hasn't it?
Yeah, over 2 weeks.
Yes.
No, 10 days into it.
Yeah. So the difference in this really is it's had a lot more nutrients in it because it's had all the muck on. Well, you saw how much muck we put on here and over there. And this is actually coming up really well and consistently across the field. So just doing an overshot of the field here, you can see it's really consistent. Bit of a green patch down in the headlands, isn't there?
That's where you get the crossover of the 2 drill drives.
So basically when you're going straight down the field and around the edge, you can get a little bit of crossover, and it's actually started to rain, which isn't ideal. But it's looking really well down here. Is there anything you'd like to say about what you're thinking it's looking like?
I think it's looking really good. Was a little bit worried about it because it didn't come through for 10 days, but it's up and strong now.
Yeah. So this likewise up there, you're looking for it to get to the 4 leaf stage before the winter hits. Right, so that is that field too. Really happy with that. So on the farm we've actually drilled on different dates according to where it's been. So did you get drill over 3 different periods really?
Well, 2 different periods, but I drilled some on the Thursday, Friday and Saturday of the week of the 16th.
Yeah, so that's the stuff up there.
These were drilled on the same day, which was the 25th.
Yeah, so really 2 periods, not 1. So up on the farm, obviously that's a bit higher. This is low, but we just wanted to check 2 fields out, basically show you guys how the different times that we're drilling and how it differs. So fingers crossed these all come through well, and in the spring these are going to fly. The only worrying thing at the moment really is the fertiliser price, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very worrying. We're just considering where we go with that.
So fertiliser, what is it at the moment? 680 a tonne.
It's dropped to about 600 in the last 24 hours, but
It's still silly.
that and the plastic increase on the haylage is looking at a £5 a bale increase in cost.
Yeah, so it's a big difference for us really. And for those that aren't really into fert prices, what would we usually be paying?
2 years ago we were down in the low 200s.
So that is straight nitrogen as well as an NPK and S mix. So
Yeah.
we tend to use two different types, and occasionally there are other bits and pieces we put on.
We're just looking at probably straights for this next year, putting the sulphur on separate, the nitrogen on separate, the P&K separate.
Yeah. So we've just jumped back in the car because it decided to tip it down, so the drone might have to wait till this afternoon. But we were on about NPK and what the plans are for next year, weren't we? So the plan is you're going to soil test, am I right?
We're looking at probably soil testing the ground. We're not sure where we are with, and then using straights and applying just what's required for the crop rather than applying the same thing to everything.
And that's just because literally most farms should probably do this, but usually because the price is low you can afford to put a little bit extra on. But now as prices are tight, margins are squeezed, we've really got to be a lot more scientific with what we're doing and give it the plant basically just what it needs and no extra. Am I right there really?
Yeah, so we're taking nothing away, but making sure the plant's got everything it needs.
But yeah, Dad's got to head off delivering now. But one extra bit just to add on. So there has been a little bit of talk about putting nitrogen on a little bits, but quite often there's been quite a lot of the arable farmers suggesting that might be the way to go this year.
Yeah, I think on the Italian ryegrass we're going to go for smaller amounts more often, so it uses all of it, and you end up with a lesser total that you put on.
So obviously it increases the price for application, but the plant wastes less, so it kind of works itself out, and by the actual high price it is, it should work out better because the plant's using more up, so it's not wasting as much. And that means there's not as much like evaporating off or washing off in the rain, so it's much better for the crop. And actually probably the highest stuff sometimes can burn the crop. We don't really put that.
Yeah, and it's also more environmentally friendly because it's not going into the water course, etc.
So overall it's probably the right way to go for a lot of farms. We just needed to be pushed through this. Obviously the government quite a lot at the moment, it's all about the CO2 and stuff, and it's all going this way. We need to be more environmentally friendly, and probably being pushed, sometimes it'll whittle out the people that can't afford it, and probably the people that are a bit more forward thinking, like a lot of these arable farmers that are on about these new systems of doing stuff. It's just the way agriculture is going this day and age, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, but now we'll head up and get the drone up, and I'll see you in a bit, guys. Hello everyone, so I'm back. The drizzle has stopped and the weather is looking a little bit better. Not that much better, but a little bit. And I'm at the final field that I wanted to talk about today. Unfortunately, Dad's not here, he's delivering like I just said. But this one is coming on really well. So this one was drilled at the same time as the first field we looked at. But there's an interesting thing about this field. If we now look at the drone shots, which I have just taken, you'll be able to see the two different soil types in this field. So at the top of the field, it is a lot heavier than the bottom of the field, and you'll see a lot darker soil up there, and how the grass has come through is slightly different. So if I pop the camera just facing forward here, guys, you'll see the grass is coming through really well up here, probably as well as any field on the farm. Here, 2, 3 flat, two at a leaf stage, so coming on really well. You can see how green it is, and it's really consistent. But probably from the camera over here, I don't know if you can see, as well as the drone shot, the very top of the field there is just a little bit bare, so there is grass coming through, just not as well, and that is because, like the field at the top in that little patch, this field has a heavier style soil, so much more clay at the top of this field, so it takes a little bit more for those seeds to germinate. It should be fine. I just thought it'd be a good example to show you guys how the soil type can affect the seeds. So that is just done pretty much, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. It was good to get Dad to see what he thought of the seed, and all the fields are going well, so drilling has gone well, the seeds are well. It'll soon be winter. Well, it is winter. It'll soon be calming down much more. We might be able to go with Dad on a delivery or two, so that should be quite cool. Usually I don't get too much involved with that, more the sheep, but you guys like to see different stuff, so why not go out with him? So guys, really hope you enjoyed it today. If you did, please can you give the video a massive like, because I just really appreciate it if you like the video. And if you want to see more stuff just like this one, please subscribe to the channel, guys. The channel is ever growing and I really appreciate all support. So massive thank you again, and I'll see you next time, guys. Cheers, see you soon.